coverage you can count on. This is KCBD News Channel 11's Daybreak Today.
Now at 6, the power to choose is finally yours. We'll tell you where to go if you still have questions about the retail electric providers. Plus, ERCOT is looking to other states for power as we prepare for winter weather. What you need to know about its new ice storm insurance proposal. And police need your help looking for a suspect responsible for a double shooting on New Year's Day. Details on the suspect coming up. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us for Daybreak Today. I'm Shaylee Kidwell.
Good morning. I'm Steve Devine. This morning, some patchy ice in the area.
I know. I drove in a little bit before 4 a.m. this morning, and so it wasn't too bad, but I feel like it's getting worse. What's going on?
It has. The temperature has dropped just a little bit more, and that's allowed bridges and overpasses where there's still moisture to freeze up. So we have some patchy black ice in the area. On this image, we are looking at the flyover from South Loop 289 to, again, the flyover right there to northbound Interstate 27 right there. So these structures that are above ground with cold air can get underneath them are the primary culprits here this morning. We've had numerous reports of accidents coming to us from the Lubbock Police Department, bridges and overpasses, some black ice out there. Keep in mind that decks and exterior stairs may be iced over as well. 34 degrees currently over at the Tech campus, just a little bit above freezing, but you see the temperature is pretty close to freezing here in the area, especially from Lubbock to the northwest. There's just a little bit of a breeze. So the wind chill here is 26, Post is 30, out towards Littlefield right now, 20. So after this cold morning with some patchy black ice, we'll actually see some sunshine this afternoon. Temperatures in the 40s with a very chilly breeze. Now, let me rephrase that. Precipitation has pretty much come to an end for today, but we do have some additional chances that we'll take a look at here in a bit. Shaylee.
Okay, thanks, Steve. The big day is finally here. Lubbock Power and Light customers can now choose what company they want their new electric provider to be. Lubbock officially entered the electric retail market this morning. The powertochoose.org website now has plans from many of the electric providers who will service Lubbock. LPNL's Mount Rose says that website is just one of the ways customers can review information, compare companies, and they can be directed to sign up for their new provider.
What I always tell people is before you click through, you're going to want to click on the fact sheet. Every single...
Let's see if we can open this.
See if that'll open. Every single one of these companies is required to give you a fact sheet. That's an apples-to-apples comparison on one page with no fine print that tells you not only what your rate is and how it's broken down, but any and all fees that you may be charged. It's going to talk to you about what your deposit is, right? It's going to go through all of those different things. A lot of these questions that we're getting asked are going to be answered by this fact sheet, and they're all required to offer you this on the Power to Choose.
You can also contact each new provider directly with your questions. They're all listed on the LPNL website. If you would rather have your questions answered in person, you can attend the Retail Electric Fair today and tomorrow at the Civic Center. Providers will be there to discuss their plans and help you sign up. Remember, you don't have to rush into anything. The shopping window is open through February 15th. You will switch over to your new provider in March. We also answered many of your questions during that special Power to Choose live stream, which you just saw a clip of there. You can watch that right now at kcbd.com. A new proposal hopes to bring insurance during major weather events to the state's power grid. A project proposed by Pattern Energy, a company working with ERCOT, would allow Texas to draw power from other states when needed. A 320-mile line would run from Texas through Louisiana and into Mississippi to connect with grids in the southeast to increase grid reliability. ERCOT would remain independent, but the line would provide backup power when needed. A shallow water man will now spend 4 decades in prison after pleading guilty to aggravated robbery, a crime that happened in 2019. According to court documents, Pablo Reyes and another armed man approached Michael McCoy in his car at a red light near 50th and University. McCoy says the men forced him to drive to an ATM. When he arrived, McCoy tried to run, and that's when one of the suspects shot him in the back. He later died at the hospital. Reyes was sentenced to 40 years in prison. The Lubbock Police Department is asking for your help to find the man responsible for a double shooting on New Year's Day. We first told you about this shooting on Daybreak today. Police say the gunman got into an argument with 46-year-old Abi Galicia and 27-year-old Christopher Galicia outside of a convenience store at 26th and Avenue Q. He hit Abi with a gun and then shot both of them. If you know who this man is, please call Crime Line 806-741-1000. Now to the countdown to the Iowa Republican caucuses. Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley held separate town halls last night in Des Moines. The two are hoping to pull voters away from former President Trump while touting their own ability to beat President Biden in November. DeSantis called for a national flat tax and abolishing the IRS. He also discussed how he would address school shootings.
The physical safety should not be an issue with our schools, and parents need to have confidence in that. So I think what we'll do is support efforts like I did in Florida. School resource officers, help with hardening, but also help identify students that are exhibiting really problematic behavior.
Haley said the best way to deal with school shootings is to address the mental health issues behind them. Both candidates said Trump's legal and personal issues would cause problems for the Republican Party.
Chaos follows him, and we can't have a country in disarray and a world on fire and go through 4 more years of chaos. We won't survive it. And you don't defeat Democrat chaos with Republican chaos.
Haley and DeSantis will be the only candidates in the next Republican debate next Wednesday in Des Moines. Today's jobs report is expected to show the U.S. gained 160,000 positions in December. Such employment is key to warding off a recession. Throw in a more sluggish inflation rate, and the near impossible is starting to seem probable. Amy Kiley reports on the potential for a so-called economic soft landing.
That is, for all Americans, good news. You have a job, and prices are finally starting to moderate.
New reports show the U.S. might pull off that elusive soft landing, curtailing inflation without a recession. Today's jobs update is another data point in the big picture, but many Americans say they just don't feel it.
The typical American household has to spend over $1,000 more a month to buy the same goods and services as they did 3 years ago because of inflation, and that bugs people.
For decades, we got accustomed to very low inflation. We forgot what it is for inflation to go up.
Politicians are paying attention to that contrast between facts and feelings.
What's important is what matters to the American people and their families at that kitchen table. And the economy is the big kitchen table issue.
Still, the numbers are there. Freddie Mac says mortgage rates have ticked up a bit, but that's after 9 weeks of declines. Meanwhile, a new report shows record e-commerce this holiday season.
I think you and I as consumers will keep spending just as long as we have a job.
The Federal Reserve seems optimistic about the future. It's hinting it'll start cutting rates in the coming months.
Do you think by this time next year people will be feeling a lot better?
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Now let's check in with Steve for a look at this morning's weather. Roads are looking pretty icy, Steve.
We do have numerous reports from our Lubbock Police Department of icy roads in the area here early this morning. The storm system is actually pulling away from us at this point. So I want to show you first the current conditions on the, actually let me show you the storm system pulling away. Again, as it does so, the precipitations come to an end, but we have some moisture on our area roads, and with our temperatures near freezing at across much of the area, especially the western northern parts of the viewing area, patchy black ice has developed, mainly bridges and overpasses, and again we've heard of numerous accidents. Now roads that are in contact with the ground, for instance the intersection here 98th and University, these should remain in good shape, wet but not ice because the ground temperatures are so warm. Lubbock Airport right now is reporting 34 degrees with the breeze feels like 25, so a cold start. Now with this cloud cover this morning, some low clouds, potentially some patchy fog. Most of this will clear out. The exception will be the northeast and the east, where we may still get a few sprinkles this afternoon out of that. Wouldn't expect that to be measurable, however. So with the sunshine coming out, our temperatures will warm into the 40s and 50s. Most of us from the mid-40s to right around the low 50s. Lubbock today at 48. With the breeze, though, 10 to 20, a little bit above that. it's going to feel cold if you're out in that. Speaking of cold, tonight it gets cold. We may have some patchy low clouds, some patchy fog in the area tomorrow morning. The low temperature 25 degrees. Tomorrow we have the potential for some light wintry showers. We'll talk more about that here in about 10 minutes, as well as the next chance after that, which is late Monday. Shaylee?